She said her and her sisters were having a few drinks and a married couple joined them. They drank until 2 o'clock in the morning, and her sisters had already left to go back to their room. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story which is part 1 of a 2-part series titled Married 33 Years, D-Day 3 Days Ago. And guys, this story is all about a guy. He's 55 years old, and so is his wife. They have 2 kids and 2 grandchildren. And after 33 years of marriage, when she got an opportunity, she cheated on him with a couple. And you're going to see here, this guy, his one red line, his deal breaker was cheating. And when she calls him crying, that's it. Kicks her to the curb. After 33 years of marriage, he ain't taking crap. And as you're going to see, she gave him the whole story and the waterworks. But eventually you're going to find out that's not exactly the whole story there. So we're going to go through this long thing here, part 1. And then part 2 will be tomorrow, because it's actually multiple updates, and I'm just merging a couple parts together and the rest tomorrow. But it's definitely interesting, guys, because it goes to show you, doesn't make a difference. Married 33 years, this type of things happens. And how a guy has to have a code, stand for something, and if it's crossed, if that line's crossed, you're done. End of story. And by the way, guys, in case you saw my story earlier today about the medical student, you all know how bad the volume was and how screwed up that was. I think I fixed the problem. I think it was a software problem. Everything seems cool when I ran tests, so hopefully this will be okay, because if I record this whole video and I go find out the whole thing's screwed up again on the microphone software on my phone here, I'm going to lose my shit. But so fingers crossed that this thing works out all right. And thank you for those that bared with me during that video, because it was pretty bad. All right, so it starts off, he says here, married for 33 years, I'm 55, the wife's 55, 2 kids, 2 grandkids, and we love them dearly. Background. We met at a nightclub back in the 80s where I was working as a bouncer. Went out for a date, and 2 months later, we moved in together. Smack. Met her at the nightclub, that says her type, and moved in together after 2 months? You're out of your mind. But he was younger, didn't know any better. Don't move in with your girl unless you're absolutely going to marry her, guys, and you need to know her for years. 2 years later, we were married. Smack. Again, too soon. We had a good life, work, play, having children. I went from a very active job to a sedate job and put on a lot of weight, to the extent that I couldn't even finish you-know-what, as I would get an asthma attack. We tried different things to spice up the SEX life, and we were always monogamous. I had been cheated on in the past, so infidelity was a red line that my wife and I never crossed. It's a very important thing for him. You get cheated on once and feel that way, you all know there's no way you're letting somebody do it to you a second time. And there ain't no forgiveness. We loved each other and thought we would die together. 33 years married is a long time, but I loved her more after every year that passed. After 20 years of a dead bedroom, I made a decision to lose the weight. So after 2 years, I lost 80 kilograms, 176 pounds, and had a tummy tuck. I know it sounds vain, but there were 3 main reasons. 1 was I could see my grandkids grow up. 2, my health, obviously. And 3, to rekindle our SEX life, and I did. That's good, man. That's great. You know, a lot of people over the years, they gain a bunch of weight, and it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, it's everybody's fault if you let yourselves go, okay? Sure, people can have medical conditions, but there can be consultations with doctors, things that can be done. But at least this guy took action later in life, so I'm proud of him for doing that. Says, for the last 2 years, we've had, about 3 to 4 times per week, and my wife enjoyed every second of it. I knew this because her body doesn't lie. So we were in a position where we can enjoy our lives with each other, and she still says she's in love with me, and I with her. I have never cheated on her, and I know she's never cheated on me. It's just one of those things. So you think. So you hope. Well, that was until 3 days ago. She went on a holiday with her 2 sisters, heading off interstate with them. I had no problem with this as I trusted her, but she knew that cheating was a deal breaker with us, and even after 33 years, it still is. So, off with the sisters for a girls' weekend. At 55 years old, what could possibly go wrong? We had a relationship where nothing was hidden. We had our apps on our phones where we could see other's whereabouts. This had nothing to do with a lack of trust, just simply safety. No phones were hidden, and we both had access to our messages and emails. Trust was never an issue. When I lost my weight and started to look better, I did gain more attention from women, but I always brushed it off as I was happily married. My wife would comment that she felt a little insecure now that I was being found attractive by other women, and she had put on some weight. This never worried me, as I love her no matter what she looks like. I tell her daily I love her and how beautiful she is. Our sex life is amazing, and I'm regretful that we didn't try hard enough early on. So, good for him. Lost the weight. He's looking better. Other women are noticing him. This makes him a little more high value in her eyes, even though she feels a little insecure. They're hooking up left and right. This is good. Unfortunately, this doesn't last long. Anyway, I just finished work and was heading home when I got a phone call from my wife. She was very upset and asked if my sister-in-law had spoken to me. I said no. Why? I asked what was wrong, never thinking I would hear what she was about to say. She told me she cheated and had you-know-what with another man. She is so sorry. She didn't know what came over her. I was shocked and my heart just broke. I sat in my car numb while she continued and said that she and her sisters and her were having a few drinks and a married couple joined them. They drank until 2 a.m. and her sisters had already left to go back to their room. The bar closed and she told me that she was very drunk and went with the couple to their room to keep drinking and talking. They both were very complimentary and kept telling my wife how sexy she was and her husband was a lucky man. I don't care about the alcohol. She made a choice. End of story. And by the way, guys, this story she's telling, keep in mind that this is her version. The man then started to touch her, and the wife encouraged them both. They told her no one would ever know and just to enjoy it. She said she felt like it wasn't even her, but she had you-know-what with the husband while the wife watched. In the morning, when she woke up, she was in bed, and both of them were asleep and ran back to her room. Her sister caught her and told her everything. Her sister told her she had to tell me or she would. Well, if that part's accurate, good for the sister-in-law. 33 years of marriage. Goes on a girls' trip, girls' weekend. There you go. And remember, guys, there's another version to this story. She told me all this while sobbing over the phone and begging for my forgiveness. I was just numb. How could she just throw away our lives? She was crying and kept saying she is so sorry and she hates herself, how much she loves me and made a terrible mistake. Well, bonehead, if you loved this guy so much, you wouldn't have done this. End of story. Or put yourself in a situation to do this. Unless this is something you wanted. And you can blame the alcohol. I told her she didn't make a mistake. She made a decision. I then hung up on her and turned off my phone. I went home and just sat in a chair trying to work out what is happening now. I cried over the loss of my wife, and I knew her and the years we had together. I cried over the loss of our future together and the effect her decision will have on my family. This poor guy. But you know what? He now lost that weight. Other women find him attractive. So when he heals, and if indeed that's what he wants, he'll have some fun. And you know darn well that'll make her crazy. My life as I knew it was over. I shut myself off for the last 2 days and then turned my phone back on. Needless to say, there were hundreds of messages from her and her sisters. The last one was she is in our home. She's on her way home. My kids have also tried to contact me as their mom was ringing them to see if I was all right and if they'd heard from me. I rang my kids and told them what was happening and that I am as okay as I can be expected, but I'll be leaving home to go sort myself out when she gets home. I asked them not to tell her where I'm going, but I need to come to grips with the end of my marriage. I just sent a text to my soon-to-be ex-wife telling her we were getting a divorce and I don't want to hear from her. I don't care about the details and now I don't care about her. The pain is incredible. I would never have thought that our love could be destroyed so quickly. That is really a shame for this guy. Now, for a number of years, he obviously was overweight, and obviously that was his own doing. But at the very least, in time, he made up for that. Okay? And he was, obviously, you can tell, very much in love with her. But that line he was set in the sand of cheating, that's it, it's done. And he's right. You didn't make a mistake. She made a decision to do this. And to no surprise, the old alcohol thing, right? So now we're going to get into the update to this thing. Says here, I may ramble a bit, but I've been going through a lot in my mind and it just keeps jumping from one thing to another. Bro, nobody can blame you. A couple of clarifications. Our dead bedroom wasn't completely dead, but compared to the last 2 years, it seems so. The active job I had was in the military, and I got injured on a training exercise, which led to a desk job, then medical discharge, and then my wife and I bought a small business together. Now, before I speak to my wife, I have spoken at length to my sister-in-law and her husband. The story my wife gave me was certainly different to the one she gave me when she first confessed. Huh, imagine that. Not quite the story that he got the first time. My kids were horrified about what happened and just want to support me. I've explained to them that though they may be angry with their mom, she is still their mother and the grandmother of their kids. She does love them, and what she did to our marriage does not change that. That's very big of him. You know, he could have very easily handled that a different way. But that she is their mom and the grandma to their kids. And that's something that the kids are supporting. A lot of times that doesn't happen. My wife and her sisters did cut the holidays short and came home. I left a note for my wife telling her to pack up and go stay at her mother's. She did this. Good for this guy. This is some old school masculine energy we got here. You get out. Go live with your mom. I'm not getting out. The details of how it went down are much worse than what my wife told me. Though she confessed under the threat of being exposed, she didn't tell the truth. No surprises there. My wife broke down to her sister and apparently told her everything. I won't know what to believe until I sit down with my wife. The story she told her sister went like this. That she loves me and loves our marriage, and she never expected to do this. She blames our active sex life that we have over the last 2 years to explore what else she's been missing. She felt this way because she was always the attractive one in the relationship, but now she believes the roles are reversed. She was insecure and needed to be wanted by someone else. Insecure, wanted by someone else. What do we call that? The need for attention and, y'all can say it, validation. Remember I told you it never stops, whether they're 7 years old or 77 years old. Again, it's like a plant that needs sunlight and water to grow. Same thing with the gals. 55 years old. She swears it was the first time, but she didn't plan it. Whether it's the first time or not doesn't freaking matter. And you think this guy's going to believe this at this point? It was a fantasy that she acted on. She was scratching an itch and was never going to tell me. Unbeknownst to her sisters, the couple she met were interstate customers of ours. I haven't met them, but my wife spoke with them all the time over the phone. My wife went for drinks to meet up with them, but her sisters tagged along, so they pretended to be strangers until they left. Holy crap, this was a giant setup. Girls' weekend with the sisters, planned the whole thing so she's not get away from the husband so she can cheat. These are customers. It's bad enough that she's doing this and with a couple and planning this whole thing, but these are actually business clients, right? They planned the whole thing, pretend like, oh, we're just meeting somebody at the bar. The sisters go to bed and off we go for a roll in the hay. She did drink, but was not a fall-down drunk. All three had planned this before they went away. And she's so sorry. How can this guy trust her again, right? Aside from the betrayal, the physical betrayal, you know, it'd be bad enough that she did indeed get drunk and met a couple and did that, but it's a whole new level when she plotted and planned this whole thing, okay? Shows what many are capable of doing. My wife is coming around this afternoon to talk. Apparently, she is beside herself to what will happen. I already know what I will do. She chose to cheat, but everyone will feel the repercussions of it. Already the truth about her cheating, though, makes it more devastating to me. Makes my resolve stronger. Makes my resolve stronger. Sounds like the Emperor in Revenge of the Sith. I didn't cheat. I didn't force her to lie. Her feelings that she's lost me and her marriage are spot on, and I don't give a shit how miserable she is. She did this, no one else, but we'll now all have to deal with it. We are over and we'll have to navigate our changed lives. So there you go, guys. That is the end of this part one here, and I'm going to cover the remainder part tomorrow. Now, this video here is nothing in comparison to the 45-minute video I did last week with the 5-part series. You all remember that one about the scorched earth guy. But anyhow, all these years of marriage, and just like that. And all this was planned out. And the girls' weekend. Again, whether it's a girls' weekend when they're 22, 32, or 55. But I feel bad for this guy. But you know what? This guy will, like so many other guys, he'll heal, he'll move on. So we will move on to the next part tomorrow to see how things continue and how this all impacts the family, what she has to say, how she handles the whole thing, etc., etc. Because it's definitely entertaining. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And also, guys, you come across a really good story that you think would be good for the channel, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just be sure to include the link to the article or story. And also, if you guys got a really good story from your lives, something crazy, something outrageous, something that would be good for the channel, by all means, email it to me. Again, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just be sure to write out really well, make it easy for me to read, and I'll definitely cover it down the road. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.